Very good morning, welcome. It's Jeff Laughton online just before 11 o'clock on Thursday, the 12th of June. It's a very busy day today, and I've got quite a bit to tell you. There's only 6 days to go to the greatest week of the year, which is obviously Royal Ascot, where I'll be for all 5 days. And I see the weather is set fair for most of the week, which is pretty good. It usually is, to be honest. There's been some years it's been well into the 30s, but it's going to be in about 26 or 27 next week, which is perfect to sit under the trees and drink plenty of Pimm's. However, there will be a lot of serious work going on in the early hours with 5 a.m. starts every day, and hopefully ending up with a very profitable week. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jeff Laughton. I've been a professional gambler for 30 years plus. For the first 25 years of those, it was mainly on course, but the last few years have seen me more office bound than at the course, purely because I can do plenty of work in the 4 hours that I will be driving there and back to the track. Excuse me. As I keep saying, this is not a tipping channel as such. It's more of an educational channel to try and help you with the way that you bet and look at the races that you should be looking at. We don't really want to be looking in 20 runner handicaps where half the field have got realistic chances. We want to be looking at races where there are no more than 3 that can realistically win. Admittedly, we're not looking at 7 to 1, 10 to 1 or 12 to 1 chances, but we are hitting a very high strike rate. And this game is all about confidence. When you're hitting winners, you feel invincible. And when you're hitting losers, you know the horse is going to get beaten before it even leaves the stalls. Have you ever felt like that? So anyway, I started at 4 a.m. this morning, knowing I had about 18 races that I needed to look at, and I knew I couldn't do that in 2 or 3 hours. The good thing at this time of year, though, it's just starting to get light at 4 o'clock. So it's not as difficult to get up as it is in the winter, when even a 7 a.m. start kills me. And out of those 18 races that I looked at, I'm going to cover about 7 for you today. So before we start, remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done that. YouTube will then send you a notification when my videos go up. Now, I've already told you I won't be doing a video next week after Monday, purely because I don't have the time, but I have created a special group if you want my Royal Ascot bets. There is a small charge involved, but you will get to know when I'm back in at 8:30 in the morning before the prices go. They will only be the Royal Ascot bets, though. You won't get them from any other meeting. If you're interested in my private service, which is absolutely flying at the moment, we've won all 7 weeks of the flat season so far and made 123 points profit in under 2 months. Then drop me an email at the email address below, jefflawtonmanagement@gmail.com, and I'll send you details how to join. And by the way, if you are part of the private service, you don't need to join the Ascot bets because you'll get them anyway. So without further ado, let's start at Newbury. In the 240, Time to Turn of Charlie Appleby's was very confidently expected to win on debut at Haydock and went off odds on. However, they also ran another horse in that race called Maximise, who won impressively and subsequently won the Woodcut Stakes at Epsom last Friday, so the form couldn't be any stronger. However, from a betting point of view, his price has been smashed from 8 to 11 into 4 to 9, so probably not a lot of use to you at the moment unless you want to do a short price double or treble. In the 350, the betting suggests there are just 2 players. Blue Bolt, who will be the first ride for Colin Keane in this country for his new employers Judmont, and William Haggis's Consecrated. Now, Blue Bolt was impressive at Windsor 3 weeks ago, but I didn't feel that he beat a lot. And although he's improving, I think his form is inferior to that of Consecrated, who was impressive on debut at this track before running an odd race in a listed race at York, where he was the first of the leaders to cry enough and drop back, before then staying on again in 4th. That was when the Argus horses were out of form, but with 7 winners already this month, they are starting to fire now. He reverts to novice company today, and he should be too good for these. At Yarmouth, in the 155, Hinitsa Bay of Ian Williams, his favourite here, is likely raced for a 4-year-old, and he didn't run from August 2023 until making his comeback in March 2025. However, it was his run at this track 3 weeks ago that really caught the eye. That was over a mile, and he jumped and travelled really well, having most of this field strung out before being caught late on. Now he drops back a furlong in trip today in this apprentice race, where he's ridden by the best rider in the race, Jack Dace. It's a race where the apprentices can only use hands and heels, no sticks can be used, but he did it so easily last time that he probably shouldn't need to be corrected with a stick anyway. Should he win this race, he'll have until next Friday to run without a penalty, and it's quite telling that he already has an entry this coming Saturday at Leicester and one at Wolverhampton next Monday, so they obviously expect him to win this race. In the following race, the 227, this is most definitely a two-horse race on paper. Spy Chief of John Gosden's has been well back this morning, and I'm not surprised having seen the way he ran at Kempton over 7 furlongs 2 weeks ago when he went clear but was caught on the line. He drops back to 6 furlongs today and he'll employ the same catch me if you can tactics. However, I have it on very good authority that Almirac of William Haggis's is a group horse. He hasn't run since last October, but they've already made an entry for him in the July Cup at Newmarket, which is a Group 1 race. He would prefer cutting the ground, to be fair, which he's not going to get today, but if he is going to have a realistic chance in the July Cup, the chances are in the middle of July the ground will be quick anyway. He needs to show today that he can handle this sort of ground. At Nottingham this afternoon in the 140, the Crisfords introduce a nice colt that they got from the breeze-ups called Flying Comet. Now he cost €350,000, and for that money he ought to be smart. But I think they are something like 0 from 8 with their 2-year-olds so far this season. And when I spoke to somebody there today, he said their confidence was on the floor with 2-year-olds, even though the horse has worked well. Therefore, for me, it's a race I'll definitely be sitting out of. In the 4:33, Sir Mark Prescott runs a typical Sir Mark Prescott horse. He ran 4 times in maiden or novice races over a mile, where his starting price on each run was 40 to 1, 100 to 1, 125 to 1 and 300 to 1. But when he made his handicap debut 2 months later over a mile and 4 furlongs, he went off the even money favourite. He looked a big raw type that day who tried to run out at halfway, and it was to his credit that he actually got him back into the race and he was strong at the end. Now he carries a £6 penalty for that and he's due to go up a further £1. But I think at this stage the weight is irrelevant because he's that much more potential to build on. This mile and 6 will also help him, and he's the sort who will probably roll up a sequence. At Chelmsford this evening, the 7:30, Explode of James Ferguson's makes his 3rd start. Now, I know they think the world of this horse, and on his debut he travelled well until tiring into 3rd behind one of the favourites for next week's Britannia handicap at Royal Ascot. That horse's 5th column. There were 6 next time out winners came out of that race. If you want a race ever to be franked for form, that was certainly it. On his 2nd start, he mixed it with another Gosden horse they think a lot about called Mudbeer, and he came off 2nd best, but that form would be well above what he takes on today. He goes up in trip by 2 furlongs, and connections feel that will help him plenty. In the 9 o'clock, if you're still around, Dutch finale of George Bowie's had 3 quiet runs and then got a handicap mark of 67 and was well backed at Nottingham on handicap debut. But he wore a hood for Stall's entry that day and they didn't get it off in time, and he lost all chance at the start. So he went to Lingfield last week and fairly bolted up as they got the blind off in time. That was over 6 furlongs. He carries a £6 penalty and he also is due to go for further £1. He doesn't take on anything special today and he should be winning this, stepping up in trip to 7. So that's it for now. Remember, there will not be any videos next week during Royal Ascot, but you can get all my Royal Ascot bets by sending me an email to the address below, jefflaughtonmanagement@gmail.com, or sending a text to the mobile number that I've left. Hopefully speak to you at the same time tomorrow, and many thanks for dropping by.